Today, we are talking about trusting your path, even when it looks different. This episode is near and dear to my heart. I can't wait to get started. Welcome back to your emotional support podcast. Today, we're talking about trusting yourself and your journey, especially when it looks nothing like what you thought it would or what everybody else is doing. There is no one right way to live a good life, and I can absolutely attest to that. We pay so much attention to what everyone else is doing, and we've talked about that in other episodes. We've talked about comparison, but not only comparison, but just like as a society in America especially, and obviously I can only speak about Americans because that's all I know about from experience, but we are so hyper focused on like societal norms and what we have been kind of sold our whole entire lives about what the trajectory of life is supposed to look like, right? You're supposed to go to school, and then you're supposed to go to college. I put that in air quotes. And then you're supposed to get married, and then you're supposed to have kids, and then you're supposed to retire. There's this sequence of events that we have been so trained is the only right way. And I call BS on all of it because there is no one right way. There aren't steps. There's not certificates that you have to get along the way before you can go to the next thing, right? You can do things in whatever way you want to. And if you know me or have learned anything about me, I don't like to do things in any kind of particular order. I had my son by myself, and then I met my husband 2.5 years later. Okay, so there's no one right way to do things. Okay, so why is it so hard to trust ourselves? We're raised to look for that external validation, grades, right? When we're in elementary school or in middle school, high school, even, like our grades were so hyper focused on what that external validation looks like. Even as adults, likes on our Instagram posts or Facebook posts, are we doing things in the correct order? Checklists, checking things off our lists. When your life doesn't follow the script, it's easy to feel like you're behind or doing it wrong, right? It's this: get married, have a job, hit this milestone, hit that milestone, do your gender reveal. It's all about like making sure not only are you hitting those milestones, but you're sharing them with the world and getting all of these accolades for them. Complete BS, okay? It's that comparison culture that I've talked about before. Instagram, it fuels doubt. Am I messing this up? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this in a way that other people approve of? Who cares? You need to be doing things the way that you feel good about it. Okay? And oh my gosh, I cannot wait to start speaking about this like out loud to people, like a large crowd of people. I just got asked to speak at a conference in November, and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to share this with as many people as possible, because you don't have to do things in the timeline that you think everybody else is looking for you to do things in. You can do things in your own timeline. Your path doesn't need to be recognized by others as appropriate to be right for you. Okay, so let's look at signs that you are aligned, even if it doesn't look or feel that way. You're doing things right if you feel peace with your decisions, even if they don't make sense to others. Okay. I made the decision when I was 32 that I wasn't in a serious relationship. I really wanted to be a mom more than anything in the whole world. And so I made the decision to have a baby on my own. Did I think that everyone was going to agree with that decision or that that decision made sense to everyone else? Absolutely not. It didn't. But I knew that that was the right decision for me, and it was 100% the best decision I've ever made. I have my son. He is incredible and amazing, right? I met my husband later, okay? I wasn't looking for a husband at the time, okay? But I felt good about that decision. It didn't matter to me what other people thought. You're aligned, you're going in the right direction if you're no longer betraying yourself to meet expectations. If you're doing things because you feel like other people expect that of you and it just feels wrong in your gut, then it's wrong for you. It might be right for them. It might be right for your Aunt Linda or your cousin Bob, but it might not be right for you. Okay? And you are the one who has to deal with the aftermath in your life. Okay? If you are aligned and going in the right direction, if you feel more you, even if it's lonely sometimes, you might be the only one who gets it at first. But once other people start to see what your life looks like on you and that you're happy, then their whatever criticism and whatever might start to fade away. It might not. And that's their problem, not yours. Okay? You are aligned and going on the right path if you're tired, but it's the kind of tired that comes from growing, not shrinking. There is a huge, huge difference there, right? If you are tired because you are just killing it, doing all the things that you love, but it's exhausting because you're just so energized to do all these things, that's a good tired. But if you're tired because you're shrinking and you're not being your true authentic self, that's an exhaustion that is just not fun. And you shouldn't be shrinking to fit other people's needs. You should be growing and blossoming to be who you truly are meant to be. So other people's confusion isn't a sign that you're off track. I'm going to say that again. Other people's confusion isn't a sign that you're off track. Some people just don't understand. And guess what? That's okay. They don't have to understand your path because it's yours, not theirs. So how do you strengthen your trust in yourself? First of all, you want to reflect on when you've chosen yourself before. What did that feel like? Maybe write it in a journal or, just reflect on it mentally. But how did it feel when you chose yourself, even though other people didn't agree? And if you've never done that before, then I suggest you get started. Another way is to tune into your inner voice, not Nicole, okay, the other one, the good one. Like I said, journaling, just being still and present, taking notice of those glimmers, checking in with how your body responds to a decision. Your body is going to tell you how it feels about your decision. You've got those butterflies, when you see something that you love or, something that you're excited about. But then you've got those butterflies that you feel when you're anxious and nervous about something. And those feel very different. And your body is going to tell you which one, okay? Define your own milestones. Success for me looks like blank, okay? Success for you, like I said, is going to look different than Aunt Linda, okay? She grew up in a very different time. She's got a very different trajectory, Okay, we're not saying success for Aunt Linda looks like blank. We're saying success for me looks like blank, and you get to fill in the blank. Okay, wherever you are. Okay, I was 32 and single. Most people would say that success for me looked like getting married. Okay, I didn't necessarily want that at the time, nor did it seem like it was in the cards anytime soon. But success for me looked like being a mom at that moment. Okay, and so that's where I chose to focus my energy, and it felt so good. And did it turn out amazing the first time? No, I didn't get pregnant the first time I tried. Okay, so there's some disappointment there, but that was okay because I still knew that I was on the right path. Okay. And your path can change, right? I had set it up where, so I had three like chances, we'll say, quote unquote. And the first one didn't take. And I told myself, I will try these 3 chances. And if it doesn't work, then I will reassess what this looks like for me and how much I want to put myself through. Okay, so if it didn't happen after that third time, then I could step back and I could reassess. Okay, what does success look like for me now? Okay, because it can change, and it will, because sometimes things are out of your control, right? It was out of control, my control, whether or not I got pregnant, right? I could do all the right things to try, but there was a 30% chance that it would happen for me. 30%, that's it. And I knew those odds going in. Okay, so I had to be able to step back and reassess what success might look like for me. Luckily for me, it did work on the second try, but that doesn't happen for everybody. Okay, and sometimes what your goal is might not be reachable, so we have to kind of reset. And remember, this is the biggest one ever. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your choices. Anyone. Now, granted, if you are in a partnership or, a relationship and your choices affect other people, then yes, that's a different story. But we're talking about choices that you make about your own path yourself. Okay, you don't owe anyone an explanation for that. Anything that doesn't affect anyone else, directly, you don't have to explain that to anyone. You don't have to be on the right path, quote unquote. You just have to be on your path, because guess what? Your path is the right path for you. And there's nothing in any book or any Instagram post or anything that is going to tell you what that right path is. That comes from you. Okay? So to recap, trusting yourself is an act of self-worth. No one can validate your path except you. So here's your weekly challenge. Write down 3 things about your life that don't necessarily follow a script, but that you're proud of. Also, I want you to reflect on a time when trusting your gut paid off for you. And then create your own mantra for your whatever season of life you're in. And you could say things like, I trust the timing of my life. Or, alternative paths make beautiful destinations. Something like that. Okay? So here is your reminder that you didn't ask for, but definitely need. Your path doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. Trust it. Trust you. You're not lost. You're becoming. And that is a beautiful thing. Okay? We all need to pay more attention to what's right for us instead of what we think is right for us, or instead of what we think everyone else thinks is right for us, right? Okay, just said right way too many times. Have a great week, everyone. I will see you next Monday. I am so glad you're here.